Good afternoon everyone, thanks for making it to London today. Thanks for making it to the very special Wembley Stadium. I guess we're a little bit spoiled now. I remember first walking out onto that pitch at a press conference. Rob, you were there as well, for Carl Froch against George Groves. Obviously we came back here for Anthony Joshua against Vladimir Klitschko, and now we're back again. September the 22nd at the National Stadium in front of 90,000 people. And then hopefully back again in April 13, 2019. But right now, it's all about what we believe the toughest test of Anthony Joshua's career so far, against Alexander Povetkin, the #1 challenger, #1 with the WBA, #1 with the WBO, former Olympic gold medalist, former heavyweight champion of the world, only one defeat to the great Vladimir Klitschko on points, and a great team of people. I'm delighted to welcome Vadim Kornilov, and of course, welcome to the team of Andrei Rybinski and World of Boxing. They've been a pleasure to work with, and welcome as well to Alexander Povetkin, a fine fighter and a real test for Anthony Joshua on September the 22nd. Like I said, we want to thank everybody involved in making this possible. It wouldn't be possible without our host broadcaster, Sky Sports, who have backed Anthony Joshua from his professional debut. American partners, DAZN as well. We had a great press conference in New York yesterday. And really, I think we all need to just take heed of what's happening in boxing right now, to be able to stage these mega events that really are the envy of people all around the world. And we're doing it here, we're British and we're proud, and it's a great time for British boxing, and we can't wait for the 22nd. Of course, you've met the Povetkin team. Here we have the unified heavyweight world champion, WBO, IBF, WBA and IBO heavyweight world champion. Now OBE and Mr. MBE down the bottom, Rob McCracken, who of course long-term trainer of Anthony Joshua and responsible for all the success of the GB squad as well. I'm going to pass over to the head of boxing for Sky Sports, Adam Smith, to talk from his side and also ask questions for people at this top table.
What a fantastic night we had here when Anthony Joshua beat Vladimir Klitschko in that epic fight, one of the great heavyweight fights of recent times. It's superb to be back at the National Stadium, 90,000 there, September the 22nd. And I believe this is, without doubt, one of the most dangerous assignments for Anthony Joshua to take on. The mandatory with the WBA, probably the third best heavyweight in the world, although he'd argue that he's the best. Take Deontay Wilder out, you know, that super fight is going to take time to make. Alexander Povetkin, just look at his pedigree. A wonderful amateur career, Olympic gold medalist, double European amateur champion, world champion, and he's won 34 of 35 as a pro. We saw what he did to David Price on the AJ Parker night, and I think he brings a lot of heat. I think he brings a phenomenal boxing brain, a great team behind him, and a left hook that Joshua's got to be very, very careful about. But listen, it's great to have Anthony back again at a stadium. It's wonderful. You know, we've had him at Wembley, we've had him twice down at the Principality in Cardiff, which is not AJ nights, and I think they've taken boxing to a completely different level. You know, Carl Froch will still tell me that the 80,000 that he brought here with George Groves was a one-off. But we're moving on, and I think the heavyweight division is fantastic at the moment. And September the 22nd is going to be a wonderful night on Sky Box Office. We've got a pretty good night on July the 28th at the O2 with Dillian White and Joseph Parker, of course. That's a real pick-up in 10 days' time. But let's get hold of Anthony straight away. Fresh in back from New York, obviously a big press conference out there yesterday. Let's not talk Gerald Miller, let's talk Alexander Povetkin. That's why we're here. How dangerous is Povetkin, and how seriously will you have to take him?
Yeah, Alexander Povetkin, as you mentioned, gold medalist, unbelievable pedigree. He's come through the professional rankings very well. I've watched him for a long time, and you know, nowadays I think the industry of boxing in terms of the fan base is a lot different. So maybe because first language might not be English, or the social media might not be the most dominant, people should never underestimate a fighter due to fan base and stuff like that. Alexander Povetkin is one of the best fighters that I'll be facing on my record, and I look forward to it as well actually. He's got a style that I enjoy competing with, I have no problem with. Left hooks, right hands, defend and counter, and box at range as well, so it should be good. I'm sure the undercard will be packed. And you know what, Gerald Miller, Wilder, I had issues like with Parker. It seems that there's always been a lot going on around my fights. You know, I've always had a fight to focus on, but there's always been a fight booked next. Like if you beat Molina, you're going to fight Klitschko. Klitschko's sitting ringside. So I've always had that issue. And I've found it quite interesting, and I've tried to understand how to deal with these things. And over the last few years, I've been fighting 10 years now, and I feel I've always done it for fun. And I've just had fun with it because I preferred the lifestyle it presented me. And now I'm dead serious about this business. And this is chapter 2 for me. And Povetkin is the first on my list.
So that doesn't bother you, all the talk of Wilder, this being a potential banana skin, I guess, you know, the upsets in heavyweight history, littered with them, of course, you know, at Wembley Arena, Lennox Lewis losing to Oliver McCall in a fight everybody thought he was going to win. It's just about Alexander Povetkin for you and Rob. It's just concentrating on him.
Not anymore. It was that before. I used to concentrate on the opponents. And as I said, it was like, it was always worrying about what was next. So I'd be like, oh, I don't want to make no mistakes with this opponent. And I started boxing within myself. I stopped expressing myself and, you know, my potential to go on and be a great heavyweight champion. Even though I have these titles, it's about proving your stock worth every time you fight. And now it's not just about Povetkin, it's not just about Wilder. It's about me, my legacy, and reaching my potential. So all comers are welcome. And as I said, in this chapter where my mindset is different because I understand what I'm involved in, Alexander is the first person on my list.
What's been the difference, though, that's made you do that? The growing maturity as you reign as a world heavyweight champion with all those belts in front of you. What's been that difference?
I spend a lot of time studying. I spend a lot of time looking in the mirror at myself. I don't, and I listen to Rob as well. And then I'm not too interested in like the praise or the criticism. I just have to look at myself. And then sooner or later, if you look in the mirror hard enough, you'll find the answers of who you really are, what you're trying to achieve. And I've been doing that since I started boxing. And as I said, I only box for fun. I went to boxing because it taught me discipline, to control egos, keep humble. And I've always said that. And now it's more about, I know I'm good at this. And I've built my mindset over the last 10 years, now I feel very, very confident. And I've learned about my weight, my boxing style. And as I said, this is a new chapter. I think I've got 10 years left in boxing. And I want to really cement my legacy.
You really believe that, 10 years?
Yeah, because I think now science, information, and people have done it. Foreman, Bernard Hopkins, and my friend now, Klitschko, went on to 40. Mayweather done it. So I believe I can as well.
Vladimir Klitschko, of course, April last year was a thunderous fight. Do you predict something similar with the style of Alexander Povetkin on September the 22nd?
Riddick Bowe and Holyfield. Because, you know, when you've got like a brawler, I know Alex can box, there's no doubt about that. He wouldn't have done what he done in the amateurs and as a professional if he couldn't. But in terms of like the style, the solid base, the gravity on your feet, and then he can swing hooks, versus someone who's more like European style, English style, upright, hit, be first, move back, be second. It creates a great fight, and I think with those two styles and the mindsets now where I can't afford to get beat, and Alex thinks he can beat me, we'll definitely gel for an interesting type of matchup.
Yeah, we all love the Riddick Bowe around the Holyfield trilogy. Let's bring Alexander. Welcome to London. Fantastic to have you here. This is the big opportunity. You've been waiting a long time. We saw you in Cardiff beat David Price. How confident, first of all, are you and the team of upsetting the odds and taking out Anthony Joshua here in front of his home crowd?
Добрый день. Вы знаете, я очень рад, что состоится этот поединок, потому что я считаю, что Энтони один из самых сильнейших сейчас в мире, и он это не раз доказал. И, наверное, каждый боксер, который тренируется, идет к тому, чтобы встретиться с самым сильным. Я очень рад, что это произошло.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for your warm welcome. In regards to the upcoming fight, I want to say that Anthony Joshua has proved he's one of the strongest fighters here, and I'm very excited about this fight. Both of us been training very hard before of it.
How do you beat Anthony Joshua? No one's done it yet. What are the tools that you believe you possess? Is it the pedigree, the experience you've had over the years? What do you bring to the table that's different to the other fighters that have faced Joshua before?
Вы знаете, мы нарабатываем технические действия, которые постараемся выполнить в бою. Я понимаю, что Joshua на данный момент чемпион мира, что простого боя не будет, но мы к этому готовы.
You know, this fight will be all about experience. I am aware that Anthony Joshua is a world champion, but we've been training hard and we're ready for this fight.
You've been a world champion before, but there's a number of titles there. What's the motivation, the ambition for you, Alexander? Is it to clean up and then take on Wilder and try and become the undisputed, unified heavyweight king?
Вы знаете, для меня мотивация есть уже то, что он чемпион мира и что он является сильнейшим боксером. Вот это для меня, наверное, самая основная мотивация.
The best motivation for myself would be the knowing that he's the world champion and I will be fighting him very soon.
Let's bring Vadim in. Vadim, tell us a little bit about the team behind Alexander, about the camp that he's going to have in Russia, and how dedicated this athlete is and has been over the years.
I would say that there's no question that come September 22nd, we're not gonna see all the hype that we've seen so far from Wilder, Miller yesterday. This fight is probably not going to accompany a lot of that because both of these guys are they're both gentlemen and they're very respectful of each other. They're respectful of everybody. But there's no doubt that this is going to be probably one of the best fights we're going to see. And we all saw Joshua against Klitschko, which many consider to be fight of the year. It was just one of those fights nobody's going to forget. And this is the type of fight that this could be, and most likely it will be because we have two of the best meeting each other in the ring. It's not just talk. It's all the talk they're going to do is going to happen fight night. Alexander is going to go, as always, into the Russian mountains to do his camp. He's done that for most of his latest fights in his career. His manager Dmitry Ivanov, his trainer Ivan Kirpa are working hard already on getting the right sparring partners, preparing the right type of training camp. And there's no doubt, Alexander Povetkin, as Anthony Joshua, are going to be 100% ready. We all know that at the end of the day, if Anthony Joshua had a choice, he would probably not choose Povetkin for this fight. Maybe if Alexander Povetkin had a choice, he would probably maybe choose another opponent. But that's what makes this fight very interesting. I think it's probably the two best guys, maybe pound for pound, meeting each other in the ring. And I think all the attention is going to be their fight night. Yesterday, Miller tried to steal the show at the press conference in New York. We all understand it's just a lot of PR that these guys are trying to get to attract attention to themselves. At the end of the day, most of these guys that are talking don't even want to be in the ring with either of these guys. And these guys are both the type of guys that love a challenge. As Anthony said, he knows what he's in for. So does Alexander. But they both love a challenge, they love boxing, and they want to prove themselves. And I just want to say that it's been a pleasure. We've had a couple of mishaps. It was not as easy trying to make this fight as usually it is with the other things that we've done with Matchroom and Eddie. It was a little more difficult, but it's that type of fight. And in any case, it was a pleasure, and everything went very well. And we look forward to a great event.
It's a real fight, it's a really good fight, and Alexander will be in the Russian mountains. Anthony will be up in Sheffield alongside Robert McCracken.
Yeah, it's a real fight. Two former Olympic champions, current world champion, former world champion. It's a stadium fight, and the reality is you know, if you're going to box at Wembley Stadium, you've got to fight the best, and that's what Anthony's happy to do. He's showed that in choosing to fight Povetkin next, and it's going to be a great fight.
You've obviously experienced Wembley a fair few times yourself. How do you think that will affect him? Povetkin obviously is well travelled as an amateur, and he'll bring everything, won't he? He's been to Wales, he's fought on that stage as well.
Yeah, he's very experienced. I don't think it'll overly faze him, but obviously the challenge of boxing Anthony Joshua, 10 years younger, height, reach, power, ability, will show during the fight. But Povetkin, he'll go to the Russian mountains. He's technically very good. He's got good power as well. He's got a very good jab that's underrated. So Anthony and myself will take him deadly serious. We'll prepare diligently for the challenge, and we expect a real challenge on September 22nd.
Yeah, as Vadim says, maybe both fighters would have chosen each other, but it's been mandated. Would you have chosen it as a fight for AJ?
I honestly think that at this stage in Anthony's career, we would have, because Povetkin's a tremendous fighter. He's been a world champion. If you're going to stay at the top, and Anthony wants to have a legacy, he wants to become a boxing great, he really does, that's his ambition, because he's achieved so much already. This shows what he's about, and fighting somebody like Povetkin will give you the kudos of challenging him, hopefully beating him, and then we'll take you to the next level, and then you'll defend more comfortably in the future against awkward opponents and technically good opponents.
Yeah, different style as always. Vladimir Klitschko, then Carlos Takam, although you were preparing for Kubrat Pulev for that one, then Joe Parker, something a bit different. What are you going to do in the camp that is, you know, specifically for Alexander Povetkin? Sparring partners, AJ's weight, what's going to be different for this one?
I think his weight's good already. He's lighter than when he fought Carlos Takam. He hasn't even gone into full camp yet. I think the opponent's very different. He's technically good. He's coming to win. He's not going to be phased. We saw that in the Klitschko fight. It was a hard fight, and he stayed in there, and he was looking for a way to win all the way through. So, you know, we'll get the right sparring partners in, and we'll work on the right drills, and we'll get Anthony in the best of shape. So on the night it happens, it flows naturally, and it'll be a great fight, and I'm sure Povetkin will give it 100%, but we're very confident.
Anthony, let's finish with you. Obviously, being in New York, back here at Wembley, stadium fights all the time. What is this doing for boxing generally? You know, both in the USA, in the UK, these huge shows. First of all, how much are you privileged to be sort of leading the way? And what do you think it's doing for the young getting into the sport? It surely can only be massive for it.
Yeah, remember, it takes all of us on this table, everyone out there to kind of bring the sport to where it is. Boxing's a giant in itself, and but also when I first turned professional, I do remember that it was a bit stagnant, and there wasn't the investment that was needed into boxing. So we worked tirelessly in the UK. I'm not talking about anywhere else, but in the UK we worked tirelessly, and I think that, you know, competition is important to get the interest. Good fights, good names will generate the interest. So I feel it must be difficult for Eddie as well, or other promoters, because they have fighters that want to go to the big time, but don't want to fight people. So how can you balance that? So I just realised that if I want to get to the big time, I'm going to have to take risks. Early on in my career, you know, I've been dropped, I've been 12 rounds, I've put on weight, I've lost weight, I've trained certain ways that I shouldn't know. I've learned about boxing specific training, and I'm a lot more experienced, I'm older. And so when I talk about things like, it's not about him or him anymore, I think it reverts me back to my reflection on the amateurs is, when you're going to the World Championships or the Olympics, I have to look at that end goal of getting that gold medal for my country. So it's not just about, oh, I've got to fight this person, that person, that person. You know what I mean? There's a tournament, and I feel like right now I'm back in the tournament stage where I have to get through Povetkin, and I have to get through Wilder, and I have to get through who's next in order to create this legacy. And it's great because people can relate to that, and they're part of this journey right now. It's resonating with the Americans, with the Russians, with the English, with the Africans. It's a great time for boxing, and I wouldn't say I'm leading the way, because as I said, I feel like we're all pushing this forward, and it's interesting to see who else is with me on this journey not for the hype, but for the tough challenges and real competition.
Finally, you put your flag in the sand and said it's London, it's Wembley, the next two fights. It's September 22nd, it's April the 13th. So the British supporters, your followers, are going to be hugely excited about the next few months, aren't they?
Yeah, man. It's phenomenal. I just heard that the tickets sell.
I don't think anybody's got any words to it. Don't worry too much about that. Talking of tickets, they go on sale Monday on pre-sale, Tuesday on general sale. I just want to echo what's been said here again. Thanks to Vadim for those words as well. These are two great fighters who love a challenge. And we do live in a sport full of hype. We've seen that particularly over the last 24 hours. But Alexander's been there, he's done it, he's fought some great fighters as well. But this young man is a phenomenon. And all those things he says he's learned in his career, he's had 21 fights. And if you want to take an independent ranking system like the Ring magazine, in his last fight he boxed number 3, which was Joseph Parker. This time he's boxing number 3 again. He boxed number 1 in Vladimir Klitschko at the time. He's beaten number 6 in Dillian White. He's beaten number 7 in Dominic Brazil. He's beaten, at the time, I think number 9 in Carlos Takam. He's had 21 fights. The pace that this young man is moving at and the challenge that he is willing to accept and take is fantastic for the sport of boxing, because we know he could sell out this stadium in a much, much, much easier fight. Anthony Joshua doesn't want that. He wants to create a legacy, and you're only doing that by beating great fighters. So thanks for all being part of this today. We're going to have a one head-to-head up here, then we're going to go out onto the pitch for another head-to-head, and then we're going to have all you guys going to get a chance to speak to both fighters as well. So thanks for coming, and we look forward to another huge night for British boxing on September the 22nd. Thank you.
Good, man.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, you come around here both times.
Guys.
Square up there.
Close a bit now. That's it. Over straight to this one. Middle. Just right at the hip. There it goes. Can't hear from the middle. I'll go a bit straight down the bottom, please. Okay. Just look at each other now, guys. Look at each other. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. On the pitch now?